concerned about trouble and trying to irresponsible, one-sided news stories.
Sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Hey everyone, Dave here, December 1773. With me as always is Ryan, and this is episode 38 of the weekly show, all the week's hottest topics with a twist. Be sure to click at the bottom right of the screen to subscribe to our channel, and more importantly than the subscriptions, make sure you're liking and commenting the videos to help us with the YouTube algorithm and get some more natural view counts. Ryan is starting the video off with copyright infringements from a Canadian company.
I'm not endorsed by any product on this podcast.
We interfere in New Zealand's elections. We now copyright foreign companies. Ryan is the source of all of our legal headaches at December 1773.
It's something I wear proudly, you know? It's not easy to tell everybody fuck off. I did come across an Iron Man 2 clip yesterday. I know this is completely irrelevant. But it was the scene that they're like, Mr. Stark, you're encouraging other people making body armors. And he's like sitting down in front of Congress and all this stuff. And then he stands up and shows the flaws in their system and basically tells them to kiss his asses and walk out of there. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm trying to do. So, yeah.
One day, Ryan aspires to tell Congress to kiss his ass.
Yeah, lick my nuts. You don't work. Like he said, I've been trying to play nice with these ass hats, but they don't want it.
I hope one day to read that headline proudly.
Yeah. I get on here every week to tell you why I should be a nice guy.
Ryan, for 3 weeks, this will be the third week in a row, we've talked about the idea of anti-white racism, or reverse racism as you called it. Headlines! Russia warns the U.S. of growing anti-white racism. Russia's looking out. Just saying.
I'm so tired of foreign countries.
Is Russia wrong in this case? In this case, let's be clear, we're not Russia. We're not sympathetic to the Russians.
Yeah, so they're worried about anti-white racism because there's been such a growth. And I'm sure they're looking at that way because they're Slavs, you know? They're like white and Chinese. What? That's what they're called. They're my people. I come from those people.
Oh boy. We should probably put clarity on that. Ryan is not... I don't even know. Does it need to be said? Does he even look Russian?
You're right, I'm Austrian. Yeah, this is what, you know, every action, there's a opposite reaction that's equal. So if you're going to have pro all this stuff, you're going to get the...
anti-stuff.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's these perfectly carved lines. They like to put us again.
I guess we're just going to let it ride. We had a solid run. Headlines!
Can you imagine the day they say this channel is... That'll get shut down. I'll make some off-colored joke about like Jews or white people.
It's colored.
It's colored, ain't it?
I don't think so.
Off-colored?
I thought it was off-color.
Well, wouldn't it be off-color because black and white is words, so it would be gray? Off-colored?
Yeah, you're trying to make this work, but I thought it was an off-colored comment.
All right, it is now off-colored.
Like off
trademarked metaphor.
Off the cuff.
Yeah, it's off-color from black and white. It's gray. It's in the gray area.
Trying to run a show here. We have important things to talk about. Headlines! The Fire Fauci Act has officially been introduced in the House.
For what? The guy's not elected. How do you fire him?
He's still appointed and paid. More than the president might add, or close to as much as the president.
He's a 1%er? It's funny, they haven't talked about taxing him more money.
So, Fauci is everybody's favorite unelected official. If nothing else, no matter where you stand on the coronavirus epidemic, can we all agree, both sides of the aisle, that Fauci has been literally on both sides of every topic when it comes to COVID. Two masks. It's common sense. Wear 2 masks. Well, there's no science behind it. Well, wear 2 masks. He said this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He said not to wear a mask at all when the thing started.
Well, it's crazy. They talk the guidelines. 6 feet, and then kids can stay 3 feet is now the thing. Well, it's like, well, what's the difference? They always talk about communicable spread and all this other crap. Yeah, Dave. And he gets that, obviously, because he's not affiliated with a party or is elected, so he's not held accountable by the political lines that divide America. So he can double foot on every issue and have, quite frankly, no accountability to what he says. And the media is going to cover for him because the media is going to make money on whatever they print.
Oh, the media loves having Fauci on, and Fauci just loves being on
Dude,
the
at
media.
what point? At what point? There's all this talk of monopoly and stuff, but obviously they have a monopoly on information, and that's never been discussed. Which I think is which is kind of why they're scared to talk about the social media giants, right? Because that's really they're trying to say that's monopoly. Well, at what extent are you saying that these other organizations that are not appointed by people like Fox and CNN, what point are these people monopolizing information and storytelling to fit political narratives? I mean, doesn't the news media craft political opinion more than politicians?
Certainly seems that way.
People don't watch C-SPAN. I don't. You know what I mean?
No, C-SPAN really is just the raw information.
Yeah, that would be
News.
actually following politics, yeah. But instead we get their produced, cinematic performances from politicians too. Get on these panels and cut them up.
I almost wonder for people watching like the Chauvin trial live, how are you watching her? Are you watching her on CNN? Are you watching their coverage? Are you watching C-SPAN's coverage?
Yeah,
I think it matters because you get the commentary when you watch some other channel, I don't want the commentary. I just want to see the trial.
Yeah, when I watched the Supreme Court hearings under Trump, when I watched the Brett Kavanaugh, I think I spent more than Gorsuch, whatever. Yeah, I watched that on C-SPAN. I streamed it through C-SPAN because I don't want their opinion. I just want the raw feed. So, yeah, what was that? I'm sorry, I kind of went in the weeds with that. What was the actual headline you read?
Fire Fauci Act been introduced in the House by none other than Marjorie Greene Taylor, she's a little nuts in her own right, but I like the fact that she's. Am I allowed to say she has balls? Figurative balls. She has figurative balls.
Yeah.
Happy National Pet Day.
How's there a holiday every day? It doesn't make sense to me. Is that the same woman that introduced impeaching Joe Biden on the first day?
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Yes.
I'm glad I got my politicians right.
Yeah, that's her. She's great.
I didn't know her name, but
do some research. She's a little nuts in her own right, but I like it. She's got balls.
Hey, in famous words of somebody I know and nuts.
Ryan, you've been investing a little bit in the stock market, have you not?
Yeah.
So I think I kind of have two things here. Sometimes I do the twofers, but they're kind of related, and I don't want to.
This is not investment advice.
Yeah, do not take investment advice from us.
Especially.
Although, if people took investment advice from me a long time ago and bought Doge and sold, they would have been doing just fine. All right, so 2 headlines. So wait for both headlines. Headlines. Investors have put more money into the stocks in the last 5 months than the previous 12 years combined. Which, I mean, I don't know what combination of, is it they've just been getting free money and they're throwing it away? Is it because Robinhood makes it so easy to do? Is it because, who knows? But here's the other thing I heard, and this stocks can go wrong quick. Headlines. A factory worker jumped into a molten steel furnace after losing more than $9,000 in the stock market. I'm going to say this. If you jump into a molten steel furnace over $9,000, you were suicidal. It has nothing to do with the $9,000.
Probably put that on a credit card.
Yeah. If you're committing suicide over $9,000, I think you just want to end it.
Dude,
it's not related.
Dude, that's super gnarly.
Yeah, he really went for it.
Yeah, he probably didn't even feel that.
You might have felt it like a little bit at first.
Show me the 9,000, dude. Come on.
He probably.
Dude, I can barely reach to the stove at 450.
If only the federal government would take their deficits so seriously.
What the hell?
Figuratively, do not. Figuratively, do not. I'm not suggesting that they all jump into a molten steel furnace. It was figurative. It's a joke. This is satire.
This is a comedy podcast, most importantly.
Most importantly. And then once in a while, we produce more news than the news. So, there's that too.
Yeah, and also controversy.
Definitely controversy. Yeah, but the stock market thing, what do you think that is? What do you think? Do you think it's just is it a combination of things, or is it just because it's so easy through this Robinhood and other type apps?
Did they have a breakdown? Do you know of like?
I don't think they did. They just.
Yeah, because I wonder, obviously all these hedge funds and stuff, but you got to think when the stock market lost all its value of COVID and coronavirus, they always say the best time is to buy low, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So if it was Trump took over 5 years ago, we'll say, and the economy was all-time highs on average ever since then, and whatever happened between Trump and Obama is not important. The point was whatever growth Trump did, which was a lot on the NASDAQ and everything, it became basically back to nothing. So the idea, I don't know anything about it, but the idea is, like I said, buy low, sell high, or you ride out for your retirement, whatever. But I think just the possibility and that people know that the worth of all these businesses is far higher than it's actually reading on paper. And I think that definitely encouraged people to put more money there. These apps and stuff definitely add the traffic. I mean, Robinhood's like the Instagram of trading. You know what I mean? And because you can do so little amount, you are now like engaged. You are literally like, you're basically like betting at like the little kids' poker table.
Yeah, the thing. My introduction to Robinhood was literally somebody sent me a thing so they could get a free stock. I was like, okay, I'll sign up. I'll get a free stock. They get a free stock. Let's go for it. And I took my free stock, and then I just traded my way up, and eventually got into. I got Ethereum and Dogecoin now, and it's worked its way quite a bit from $0 investment, but it's been fun.
It's cool. It's cool. I mean that they've obviously allowed the gates to us, but it's still. I mean, back to Robinhood and stuff. I bought Doge through them. And like Ethereum is the secondary largest digital currency, cryptocurrency rather than Bitcoin, and those have done quite well, like you've said. But when you buy, I don't know if people know this, you don't own the stocks on Robinhood and stuff like you do if you were to go. There's other apps that you can buy those cryptocurrencies in that you would actually. You can still buy like a dollar's worth of Bitcoin, but you'll actually own that dollar's worth of Bitcoin. So when you see that high raise, let's say Bitcoin goes to $1 billion or whatever, and your $1 investment becomes $1 million, you actually get that profit. I don't know how it breaks down in those app companies, but they already have a lock on it. They're gonna let you and not let you get rich on Robinhood. It's just essentially another way to funnel control, but it's just with our finances, everybody's finances, quite frankly, in a day and age of socialistic talk.
Yeah, if I was any serious investments I do is definitely not done through the Robinhood app. Like I said, I haven't put $1 into the Robinhood app. But if you're talking minor amounts of money,
little kids poker table.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, but if you're doing thousands and you want to actually have an investment, go to a financial advisor. There's a guy right here locally, and I only bring him up because his sign is perfect to make people think on the road. It's a road sign, digital TV that says "Another local millionaire made every day." And that's not because the guy has $1 million to walk around, but he's worth $1 million. His house is paid for. His retirements have $700,000 in it. He can retire comfortably and with dignity. So our generation, obviously, like I said, that stuff's like Instagram, so it's definitely helped, but I think most of that trading and stuff is because people know Coca-Cola is not worth $50 a share. It's worth double that. Tesla's worth whatever. And they just saw the opportunity to, quite frankly, with stimulus, I'm sure there's people that were day traders that took their stimulus and literally put, you know what I mean? And they might have made tenfold on that because they know all those stocks already. They know those companies. My economics teacher always told me to go to the company's websites and pull up their dividends, I think it's called, of the last few years. It has to be public knowledge and it has to be readily available for investors. So you can go to gm.com, type in whatever that form, dividends, and you can see their profits. You can see their stock numbers. You can see it all on their website. And plenty of people know that stuff. So, but in theory, it's good for our country, right? All this investment, all this dumping in, especially during the time of COVID. You know, that's something I think we need to highlight out of this headline is that it's good that people believe in America and are investing in America for its regrowth, because the stock market falling out and then rising back up. I mean, we're seeing that drop was super temporary.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think most people knew that, and that's why they invested. We got some Biden news. I said to Ryan before we started airing that Biden administration, I'm sorry, I almost did it. The Biden-Harris administration has been very quiet and yet very active. Headlines. Even they do it. Biden admin to call for worldwide tax hikes so that U.S. businesses don't leave countries following its corporate tax increases. So,
what?
Yeah, the Biden-Harris administration wants other countries to raise their corporate tax rates so they don't leave our country when we raise our corporate tax rates. So there's two things.
Do they not have a problem with rich people in other countries?
So
what the fuck? How is that not racist and colonialistic? Like, what are you talking? You're telling you're. Go ahead, dude. I'm sorry.
So I got
These
two things.
People are power tripping lunatics, dude.
One, the left and the leftist media is telling me that I should be calling it the Biden-Harris administration because that Harris is a powerful woman. She deserves respect and blah 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 blah. And then I read their headlines and it says the Biden administration. What is that? Is Ryan? Is that doublespeak? Is that doublespeak? You're telling me to do something simultaneously not doing the same thing?
Yeah, it's holding two opposing points of view in your head that contradict each other, and you believe both of them equally. That's what doublespeak really is. The grass is green and the grass is purple. Like, okay, the grass is green, the grass is purple.
And the other thing I got out of that is this tells me that the left knows that raising corporate tax rates drives out business. We've said it many times. These people
because of other countries, David.
These people are not stupid. These people are, well, what do you call it? They're evil? I don't know. Is that too far?
Let's start with Machiavellian.
They know what they're doing. Let's just put it that way.
Andrew Cuomo, terms matter. Words matter.
Biden administration.
They live under legalese, man.
You know what's funny? I got 3 kind of Biden-like headlines in a row, and they all say Biden administration. What was this whole Biden-Harris thing? Why was this a big... This was one of our headlines, is that we had to call it the Biden-Harris administration, because blah, 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 they're all equal, and women aren't less than men, and we should include her name, and I got 3 headlines in a row that just say the Biden administration. Headlines! Biden administration considers restarting border wall construction to, quote, plug the gaps amid Biden's border crisis. And this is the other thing I like about this headline. Harris said she was taking over the border crisis.
But they call it Biden's!
They call it Biden's border crisis. The Biden-Harris administration said, Harris is dealing with this. Go get him. And there's a crisis. Well, Biden's border crisis. She doesn't get to take any of that responsibility. The way the left crafts narratives, we talk about it all the time. You just said it earlier, the media, how they create these narratives. Unreal. It's such a sleight of hand.
In real time, which is super scary. Once again, it's produced. It's paid television programming.
You said something I never really thought of, but like the party of like the left and Hollywood and all that, all these leftist elitists, it's all Hollywood, and it's the party of cinema, it's the party of film, it's the party of, they know how to craft all these.
Emotion.
Yeah, they know how to
They
push
make you
all this.
cry. They put you in a dark room, dimly lit, with all your people. You all feel the same energy. Dude, like, you ever been to a movie that was, like, incredibly experiencing? Like, dude, they know how to craft that with music and... No, that's why they put them sad puppy dog commercials and show you all these, and they'll be like, donate now, and then 99% of the profits go to the celebrities that endorse the thing. You know? They did it with the troops in Iraq magnets. This is notorious of charity that you need to look into it. But those magnets that were selling after 9/11, support our troops. It was like 95% of the money went to the magnet company. Supported the troops, though. 5% of $5.
The thing that I find interesting about this is we were told constantly that there is no border crisis, and that they'll get some pictures of facilities. They don't kids in cages, and Harris is going to go visit and see because it's really not that bad.
Do you think we
And
get
yet,
if they
if
let
it's-
me get down there?
No, if it's not that bad, why are we constructing the border wall? And why are we constructing a border wall if the border wall doesn't work? Because we were told for 4 years that the border wall isn't going to be effective in curtailing this issue that we have at the border. So
And why do we have an increase at the highest of 15 years?
what is the truth here? Is it possible, Ryan, that the truth is that we do have a border crisis and that a border wall, in fact, does help with the border crisis?
Well, isn't it incredible that they call it a border crisis now? Like, openly. Like, it's a crisis at the border. It's the highest numbers have ever been in 15 years. You're telling me none of the numbers went. I would love to know what the numbers were on Election Day. How many border numbers there were that week on Election Day.
Like from inauguration on? Or for Election Day?
Yeah, no, from Election Day, November.
Oh.
I want to know. I mean, we don't got to look, but this is just another thing that they lied or didn't talk about. I mean, their whole campaign was saying, I'm not this guy and I'm the great uniter. And then literally everything, almost everything it seems, is like they're blaming the other guy or it's this problem. And it's like, we got to fix it with vast government overreach because the government wasn't involved and the last guy messed it up. I mean, how can they legislate by pen, enforce by gun, and then they take accountability by finger pointing? Like, how is that any form? But I guess maybe this speaks on the average American psyche. Maybe that's why we don't confront politicians about it, because maybe we do the same thing. We don't practice what we preach, and we'll blow on our neighbor to save our own ass. Maybe that's what this is indicative of, and that's why it's a problem politically, and that's why not everybody should fucking vote, quite frankly. It ain't even about it. Go ahead.
I don't even care if that's a controversial statement. We've said it on this program before. Voting should be harder to do, not easier. Because quite frankly, when something's more difficult to do, you take it seriously.
Yeah, my buddy told me I need to change my terming, so I did. Everybody should have the capacity to vote. Not everybody should vote.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, 1% of the population should be able to vote. Yes.
Yeah.
But not all of them should vote.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point because we didn't really clarify that. But I'm not advocating people aren't allowed to vote. What I'm saying is it shouldn't be the easiest thing in the world to do because, quite frankly, then you don't take it seriously. Why would you?
There's a guy, I think he was on Rogan and he said it, and I believe this is another saying from another very bright man. But, it goes through it. He's like, with my family, I'm a communist. Like with my neighbors, I'm a socialist. With my town, I'm a Republican. And as it goes up, as the level of government increases, it becomes one of those political terms. Like, you are a communist with your family. Everything that I make goes to my family. I'll do anything for my family. I'd give my family the food off my plate. That's communism if we were to label everything what you do in a day. And this is why it's important to know terms, and that's why they use them and craft them in their entertainment centers. But as they go up, and basically by the time it gets to the federal level, it's like, yeah, I believe in democracy at the federal level. At the presidential level, I'm a state level, I'm a Republican, and local level, I'm a libertarian. You know what I mean? Like, and then communism's your family. I messed up the order and everything, but it's out there, and it's very true, man. It's very, very true.
It's an interesting way to look at it. For sure.
But yeah, not everybody needs to vote, man. I would love to know the border numbers and everything else after inauguration, because they didn't say anything about fixing the border. They said it was racist. They said that we build bridges and not walls. Like you said, David, they said for 4 years it doesn't work. And we've covered on this podcast since Trump, because we covered pre-election, we've talked about borders on this thing and the wall and the numbers, and it was a politically charged issue and everything. And this shows once again that they can craft an emotion based on a topic without revealing any facts to people. Because I guarantee you, if they were to put the numbers of people illegally entering this country at the bottom of the television screen, like they put coronavirus deaths, we would be building fences on every street tomorrow. People would be making America have a mask around its borders. We'd be building walls underground. We'd be filling in tunnels with concrete. Like, I'm serious. Because we don't see it. Once again, they don't care about the facts. They don't talk about those. They use the politically charged emotions. So, whatever. I'm glad they avoid their fallout of being shit, and they're not gonna. Biden or Harris will not get any tough questions from the media. I mean, this is.
I think part of the reason that they try to avoid the facts is because they're pretty loose with the facts. Here's a fact that they stated that has it's now showing to be false. Headlines: Biden administration retracts the claim that $2.25 trillion infrastructure plan would create 19 million jobs.
He retracted the claim.
Yeah.
The number that they originally put out wasn't even true. So they either didn't know it or couldn't verify it for whatever reason. And then they have to undo the number. And I'm sure more people read, and we're playing telephone again, political telephone. They're like, dude, did you hear Biden's making 19 trillion jobs? Be like, oh my God, that's more jobs than people.
The jobless rate would be none, but the jobs not filled rate would be tremendous. But see, this is the thing though, because you can just make a claim, it sounds good, and then people just hope you don't follow up with it. We see it. I mean, it's right here. You just have to pay attention. They retracted the claim. They said, oh, actually, that's not true. Just like the Obama administration, shovel-ready jobs. Well, guess they weren't so shovel-ready. Well, at some point, there should be a consequence to this. And we talked about on this program, these people know exactly what they're doing. I don't think that they thought 19 million jobs would have been created by this. They have smart enough people knowing what would have happened. They knew what the outcome would have been, at least a close enough estimate.
Yeah, they got a political think tank somewhere sitting outside in Virginia doing all these analytics and crushing numbers with supercomputers the size of my bedroom. You're going to tell me that they don't know what they're doing.
And there will be no consequence to this. He'll just move about his business.
You know what's sad, dude, is I think I talked about it when it came up around the July mark maybe, but we're like the oldest single democracy continuous on Earth, and this has happened to us. Mm-hmm. It's kind of scary, man.
Well, again, you talk about it frequently, in the scale of world history of Earth, history of people, history of civil rights.
Yeah. Self-government, the idea of democracy, a few thousand years old, literally, out of millions.
I had to sneeze, didn't.
I heard a powerful. Never mind. I'll get to it later.
Let's get a little less political for a couple seconds here. I got two slightly less political headlines. I like to wind down a little before we get into some major news. Headlines. Elon Musk's Neuralink reveals a monkey playing Pong with a brain implant. Did you see the video? We posted it on our page on Facebook.
It's so cool, dude.
I need Neuralink. I really do.
My mother's boyfriend, when I talked to him about it, he's like, Planet of the Apes, anybody? I was like, forget a monkey. I was like, we got him too. Bring the monkeys on. Bring on this. We're
going to level the playing field. It's fine.
I mean, not to mention I have a firearm. I'll blast that Neuralink out of that monkey's skull, but come on.
I don't know how much longer.
There are slaves anyway, so it doesn't matter. Slave labor, monkey labor.
Slave monkey labor. I don't know how much longer you're going to have that firearm, but for now, we should be able to handle the monkeys.
What do you mean, David? I have 0 firearms.
Can anyone talk about the fact that in Planet of the Apes we get to see that even the leftist cinema understands that firearms level the playing field? They know this stuff. They know this is true. Yeah. You see it in their movies.
Dude, how great is it that they can be hypocrites and get paid for it, and their guys is like, oh, I only play that guy in a movie. They can go Christian Bale or Nicolas Cage or all these guys that go in there and kick ass. Gerard Butler, who's another shoot 'em up? Jason Statham. I don't know if any of these guys have political, I don't know if they've ever talked about gun violence, but I'm saying these people that have played violent roles, Matt Damon, they go run and gun everything. They play characters that, were fucked over by their government, like created to be murderers. And then they're like, oh, that's just a character I play. It's like, what a great way. Like, oh, you're not blaming me. You're blaming this persona I craft. Almost like they know what they're putting out there.
It's almost like these people know exactly what they're doing, like we always say.
Back to your point about the firearms, quick, David. I would love to know their plan to stop firearms. I really would. They can say they do executive action. Gun laws only harm law-abiding citizens because criminals don't care about the law, and that goes with anything. And saying guns are going to get harder to get and everything with new executive orders and gun laws, and if we stop making it's a lie. There's more guns than people, and you can make a gun on anything. I mean,
harder to get for who is my question. For me, sure, yeah, it's going to be a lot harder for me to get one.
Yeah, that's why it's once again, gun laws only affect law-abiding citizens because you go through the background check, you buy the gun safe, you keep the ammo stored separate, you follow all your state statutes, you get the background check, you get fingerprinted for a pistol, you get 5 references that have to have squeaky clean records just to get your civil liberty. Yeah, us go through the steps. People talk about, it should be like it's harder to get a pistol in New York State than to get your driver's license. First of all, if I have to be older. So if we're talking about the age of segregation, you've already eliminated young people from it, even though I can buy a long gun at 18. It's not ageism, though.
No.
16-year-olds should vote. I mean, come on. How can you be so elastic with 2 different things?
It's also interesting that they choose at what age you're allowed to have rights.
Yeah, I don't know, like at birth, right?
Ryan, how?
It's
Ryan,
like
hold on.
Life.
You have to be 30 years old to use freedom of speech. All right, you're not old enough yet. Once you're 30, you can have freedom of speech.
Yeah, and then it's once you're 30 and educated. And you'd be like, okay, what constitutes educated? I've read a book. You got to read a book inside a classroom and have somebody watch you read the book.
Oh, if you have a felony also, you can't have speech. I would love to apply the same laws to speech and just to see how people would lose their minds. We should do that. Let's do that. Let's go set up a little thing on the side of the road with your GoPro and ask people if we'll just use gun laws now. We'll use background checks. We'll use age, criminal history, and we'll just convert all the laws to freedom of speech and see how many people are on board.
Yeah, what we should do is put gun laws are oppressive. Change my mind. We'll take and we'll do our own of it, and we'll do it for free. But yeah, I'll question people and tell them that same stuff, dude. Like apply that logic to other civil liberties.
Let's take it to DC.
You can't use your freedom of speech in a government or state or local building or municipality. If you're under the influence of alcohol, you can't use your freedom of speech.
If you have a mental illness, you cannot use your freedom of speech.
You can only use your freedom of speech in public.
Red flag laws against freedom of speech.
You can be on a don't-fly list for your freedom of speech.
Sir, you are not allowed to speak. You are on a no-fly list.
Tim Kennedy, on his Instagram. I actually went through. This is a little personal note. I went through my social media. I'm not bragging or anything, and I'm not doing what normal people do. But I went through. I purged all my social media friends on all of my media. Started my Twitter over. I just kind of like a new blank slate, right? And in doing that, I really like realize a lot about myself. And I think most people should do it, to like look at the shit that you consume. You know, like your influences is important, the things you are influenced by. And when I was going through all these endless scrolls and like looking at the names, and if I follow and like I could maybe not every person, but I evaluated the content that they provide to my life. And anyways, Tim Kennedy's great. Follow him on Instagram and stuff. But he had a thing right after Biden talked about gun laws, and he wrote all the times that there was confiscation and registration and all the death that happened. You know, like, it's gonna happen, man. But I said, I know we don't want to talk about guns again, and I've already started that, but I really want to know what your plan is to stop guns. Like, anything that you've said.
They would just do what Australia did, have a mandatory buyback.
Mandatory. How do you enforce that, David?
You just tell them they have to do it.
I don't think it works like that.
Well, that's what Australia did.
If that was the logic behind all laws, why do we have prison populations?
Oh, that's for the people who don't listen.
Oh, and only black people, right? Even though there's more white people incarcerated than black people.
Well, percentages.
Mostly white men, and then I'm told that white male toxic. Go ahead. That's fine. I'm just a misogynist, man.
We haven't talked about this for a while. Headlines! I like this one because this is what I say about aliens would be, quote, friendly, but we can't gamble on it. In case they invade Earth, says string theorist Michio Kaku. Kaku? I don't know how to say it.
Could be friendly, but don't count on it.
Yeah, but they could be friendly. I think they'll be friendly. We've talked about the friendly aliens. You think it's ridiculous. I think they're definitely friendly. They have to be friendly.
Dude, they're not coming down here to talk to us.
They're not coming here at all because they're friendly. They don't need to. What do they need to do? They're not going to invade us. If they were going to invade us, they would have done it already. They're so advanced, they would have just...
David, if they've touched in our atmosphere, it's an invasion of Earth. What the hell are you talking about? They've already invaded.
Yeah, but it was like a friendly invasion.
Get out of here. We believe in imaginary lines of the atmosphere. Come on. They enter Earth's atmosphere. It's an invasion. It's a foreign contaminant.
But it was mostly friendly.
Mostly
They
friendly.
weren't here.
They raped the planet, and it's mostly friendly.
Oh, they didn't rape the planet. They left a couple of steel monoliths.
We don't even know if they were steel. Nobody did a fucking chemical analysis.
Well, they were probably... You're right. No, that's a good point, Brian. They probably were some otherworldly element.
Oh, yeah. Oh, let's see if it's magnetized. Oh, it repels the magnets, and it's electrified. Like, come on. Don't put water on it. Instantly boils. Like, it was cold to the touch and light as hell. Like, what do we...
Could be aluminum.
Aluminum's not real, Dave. It's just...
Did you see, speaking of alien talk, I guess we'll get it all out there when we're talking about it. I saw a thing, I don't know what it was, some researchers said that all the abductions were done by the CIA.
All?
That's what he said. All alien abductions were done by the CIA. And I'm almost curious why the CIA is shoving things up people's...
I believe that's more possible than aliens abducting people and putting them back in their bedroom.
Well, you have been saying for a while that we are the aliens. So it's kind of two different theorists siding with each of us. One says we are the aliens, CIA is doing the abductions. One says they're friendly aliens. String theorist. String theorist sounds pretty smart. He sounds smarter than a researcher.
Einstein was a string theorist, and he invented relativity, David. Discovered, rather.
Yeah, I was going to say he didn't invent it.
How do you know? Did we discover math or invent math?
We discovered it.
You sure?
We discovered that 2 things plus 2 things is 4 things.
But we had to make the number 2, David.
Yeah, I guess. Gotta make a lot of things. And, I mean, if you look at it, if you break it down that much, we invent everything. But we don't really. Like, we had to invent the term gravity. We didn't invent gravity, though.
No, we didn't invent fire, but we harnessed fire. So we had to discover it. I guess we would have to discover math before you could invent anything to math.
I have 2 goals.
You would have to discover the thought of math, at least.
I have 2 goals in life. One is to prove to you that aliens are real.
Okay.
I do feel bad for that alien because we have been told several times on this program Ryan will only believe in aliens if he. Well, I'll let Ryan tell it.
I gotta fucking kill one. So
All right. So
I'm waiting for my mail order alien bride. I'm not marrying her. It's not marriage fuck kill. It's just fuck kill. So
one mission is to prove to Ryan that aliens are real. The second mission is to get Ryan to publicly tell Congress to. Well, we talked about it earlier.
lick my balls.
I need that to be a headline.
Could you imagine congressional record? That'd be fantastic. Congressional record. Guy sporadically stands up and tells all of Congress to lick his nuts.
I would love to read that headline one day.
EveryTimes.com.
This came in kind of late. I saw this on on our chat for one, but I also saw it just before our chat. Headlines: David Hogg leaves pillow company he launched to compete with Mike Lindell.
Why would happen?
I'm gonna guess that it turns out
running a business is hard.
Yeah, he wasn't as smart as he thought he was.
Those rich people. You know what's crazy is he's gonna double down on how that he'll double down on a failure of capitalism, not a failure of ambition.
Yeah, I almost wonder. It's almost like his plan to have this massively unionized pillow company would have been too expensive to produce revenue. Not revenue, a profit. Let's be clear.
Yeah, on a pillow.
Yeah.
On a pillow, not even like a computer or a car, clothes, just a pillow, like a necessity.
I know that's what it was. I want him to admit it. I want him.
He's not though. He's gonna
never admit this.
Yeah, dude, because it will prove that their narrative is about the envy of wealth, not that they actually care about the poor people.
He'll never admit that unions would have drowned his company.
Yeah, they don't. They hate the rich. They do not love the poor. Those are far different ideas. These people are envious of wealth because they believe they could do better. They have never sacrificed to create any of that. And I don't have a thriving business, but I'm not gonna shit talk Jeff Bezos for being a trillionaire. Like, come on, this is ludicrous. That guy's written books about his story. Warren Buffett was a poor 13-year-old boy investing his pennies. Like, I don't hate these guys. They're success stories in our own country.
Yeah, if I hate these people, it's for different reasons. It's not because of their wealth.
Yeah, it's just their
like scum. Bill Gates. Bill Gates is just a piece of shit. But
yeah, they're morally.
I don't hate his wealth. Respect what he did.
It's not disproportional, I would bet, to the average American. Not to shit talk everybody, but I'm sure the average person. Jordan Peterson's talked about it, but everybody could be a Nazi concentration camp guard. 99% of us would be, and you can say that you're not, but that's the reason.
For people who think that's crazy and who think they wouldn't answer this question: do you support gun control?
Me?
No, just for the people who say, "Well, I wouldn't be a Nazi guard." Yeah. Perfect. Yes. Do you support gun control? Exactly. That's how easy it is to get roped in.
Yeah, because they're going to say yeah, and they'd be like, okay, you're welcome to the Nazi regime.
Do you support punching Nazis in the face, right? Like, we've talked about this, like the idea of the left, well, punch a Nazi in the face. Well, it sounds great because, everybody hates Nazis. I get it. But the problem is, who's defining who's a Nazi? Who says that person's a Nazi? If it's decided by you, if you say, that person's a Nazi, and you go punch him in the face, what if you're wrong? What if you're, in fact, the Nazi? If you're the fascist, like these Antifa people, the anti-fascists, who are ironically the fascists.
People that never even read a book about fascism telling me what's fascism. But Jordan Peterson, he had a powerful thought, and he said that he read that during the Soviet Union, you couldn't even say you were struggling. Because everybody's broke and poor, right? In the Soviet Union, starving to death, right? Or however bad, with death squads and gulags and all this shit. Well, if you said that you were suffering, you were then admitting that the communist regime was failing at their promise to provide everybody the necessities of life.
So it became negative speak against the government.
You can't even say I'm suffering. Like, oh, I'm just struggling. I'm grinding out. Everybody, same shit, different day. I'm stuck in the wheel. We talk about the oppressive corporation like this, right? That's how we describe our jobs, a lot of people. Oh, I'm going to the man. I hate my job, right? Like it's this iron thumb. And it could be to some degree. But, yeah, you couldn't admit you were struggling. They would drag you to a camp and kill you if you said that you were struggling, even though you were humanly struggling and suffering. You couldn't even say it.
Oh, that's crazy.
These people have the audacity to call me a fascist. Or call people fascists. Dude, it's incredible. That's a powerful thought, man. And once again, back to the Nazi prison guard thing, they did an experiment with college kids and let them run a prison system. It's a very famous experiment referenced by many people. And the kids become tyrants of the prison with power. Now, extrude that by, 300 million people and the whole American population. Tell me they're not on power trips up there down in Congress. Who can lick my nuts? Did you? Are you done with headlines, Dave?
Yeah.
All right. All right, I got a couple.
Good long lick, the whole thing too, just all of the nuts, both of them. I'm guessing. I don't know for sure. I'm just guessing. There's two.
I have both. You have to get my transition so that I can have this political debate and not be a misogynistic white male with toxic masculinity. Yes. He's raising a daughter and he has toxic masculinity. Shut him down. Just a couple things. I'll blow over some things. Facebook had a data breach again. As far as
good.
It showed the information on a dude's website. It was 530 million people.
It's almost like they're gathering all this information to be breached.
Yeah, and not to say anything, I don't know, a country like China could just steal all that shit and have my social security number for all I know. And make a cardboard version of myself. Just replace me slowly with alien abduction. 533 million people is almost twice the size of America. So, I would bet it's almost all of Americans' data was leaked on this hacker's website. And it basically, I don't think the hacker released the information. It just released the information about how Facebook has data on 530 million people. This data of 530 million people is out there because of Facebook.
That's good.
Yeah, don't regulate big tech or anything, right? Let's just they're not a monopolistic. China Biden. I saw a thing that he has not talked to President for life Xi Ying XY, whatever the fuck the guy's name is. I don't care. China.
Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Jing. But Biden hasn't talked to him at all about the origins of COVID, even though headlines from the Daily Wire, the U.S. grant to the Wuhan lab for funding for variants of the bat coronavirus strand, which is all public knowledge. This was a real thing. It got no HHS oversight or review before it got the money to do it. So HHS, I assume, is Health and Human Services.
That's right.
I'm glad we have a government overview the funding of viruses, and they don't do their job, and there will be no accountability because they weren't elected to begin with.
That's a lot of unelected government officials really screwing the pooch there.
Yeah, man. I got local Buffalo PD news. There's some violence here lately. I guess there's been some violence in the city more, not necessarily by me, but I bring it up because in the headline it said the Buffalo Anti-Violence Committee has commented on a lot of increase in shootings lately. So it was such clear bait and switch headlining that they're, we have anti-violence leagues, but we're commenting on the increase of violence. So I don't think what they're doing is working. Whatever government's doing is not working. People are snapping. Which I know there was that story about the football player that shot and killed all them people and himself, and they're going to examine his head for CT.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, obviously we use that as a scapegoat. Oh, he had CT, it's this bile on Clearwall and It distracts from the other issues of gun control or mental health or whatever, but it is. I just think overall, like, what the government has done has proven a lot of weaknesses in our society, like, which it's been said before. But Jordan Peterson, speaking of this, I brought him up earlier. Damien, did you see the Red Skull thing?
Yeah, I did see that.
This is fucking insane, dude. This is fucking insane. Now,
explain what's happening, because I didn't.
It's important.
I just saw the picture.
Okay, Marvel is owned by Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And Star Wars is owned by Disney. I bring it up because Marvel Comics makes Star Wars comics as well. Okay? This isn't just the movies. Marvel is owned by Disney at the print level. So all of their comics are a Disney product. This is important because Disney is the largest media company in the world. And they brainwash everybody. Little girls, they do it. I mean, back to the theater people here with political discourse. I mean, Falcon and Winter Soldier already had political content in there that I've yet to consume because I don't know if I can stomach this shit. But Disney printing Red Skull, obviously, I don't know if we got to break this down, but he's a villain of Captain America in Marvel. They made a comic of Red Skull being shown on a computer screen with text bubbles, and they were 10 rules for life, and chaos, and not order, but control, like whatever. It was all subliminal, and it was clear it was about Jordan Peterson. Okay, like Jordan Peterson had a book, 12 Rules for Life, and he talked about in all three of his books order and chaos, because he talks about how that's the symbolistic, ritualistic. It's very, very good writing. But so they put him in a Marvel comic, and they basically literally made Red Skull seem like he had the same affiliation socially and thinking-wise as some of Jordan Peterson's talking points.
Did Disney come out and admit that was a...
No, dude, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
You never know. They're getting pretty brazen these days.
Dude, the company that takes in episode 7, the black stormtrooper that picks up the lightsaber, they left his photo out in the Asian release of Star Wars. They didn't have him on billboards over there, or on the movie posters, rather. Yeah,
Jokes on Disney. Episode 7 sucks.
Yeah, they've already proved that they will use their platform to shit talk people if they don't like you. And it don't matter if it's political or not. Jordan Peterson got hype and slack because which this was a talk in our discussion for the December council, but like he first got popular. I mean, he was a brilliant professor, right? Locally in Toronto or wherever he taught, people loved him there, I guess. But he became controversial because when they passed laws that you would lawfully have to address people by their name and all this stuff to be inclusive to transgender and people who want to identify by certain pronouns, he said, no, like, I have no problem doing it to you personally as an individual, like, hi, I'm a girl or whatever, fine. But to implement that at the social level, the level of government control that you would have to do to have that is so dangerous historically. And because people don't know history, because we don't talk politics, religion, and history, we don't know this.
Yeah, and we actually had a headline a couple episodes ago about a man who was sent to prison for calling his son a daughter or whatever he did. But
I believe it was in Canada.
It was in Canada. So Jordan Peterson wasn't totally crazy.
No, he's not totally crazy. The guy's read hundreds and hundreds of things about this. Like, the guy, that's his life's work, is like modern philosophy, like 21st century philosophy, which basically is trying to figure out human nature after the 20th century of mass murder and mechanized murder.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. And then we have to deal with all the social implications. He's a clinical psychologist. He was seeing people in his practice, trying to help them, through psychology. Like, he knows the human mind. And then, to go further, so does Marvel. So does Disney. They get you to spend trillions of dollars on their products. And they'll use that they always talk about how all these other people, Alex Jones and Milo and all these banned people, that your content influences people to do terrible things, but they can use their content to literally write you out of a job, to write you out of the social space, to write you into publicly shaming you. They'll do that with everything. They'll do that with your political affiliation, your ideas, your religion, your vaccine history, your HIPAA laws. I mean, vaccine history passport's been in the talk. And apparently, federally, they're not allowed to do it because there's some ties to Roe v. Wade about it, how it's basically protected under HIPAA. But that doesn't stop the state government from doing it. We'll see what that brings. I wouldn't doubt if that guy's got cashless tolls all over the state. He's going to get a vaccine passport if he wants one. Because if not, you won't be able to go to the Bills game. So all around, my big point with bringing up Peterson is they will run you through the gutter. It's been proven by plenty of other people. The thing that's important with Peterson is he's such a powerful intellectual person. He's educated. He's successful. He doesn't have abusive He doesn't have 7 ex-wives and all these kids. The guy's been married to the same woman his whole life. His childhood sweetheart has 2 kids with him. Lovers and everything. Beautiful story. It's important. This guy is not he's not an Alex Jones type. There's no reason why he should be banned from the internet or social spaces or publicly shamed. They'll do it to me. They'll do it to him. They'll do it to you. They did it to Trump. Mm-hmm. Trump's talking about making his own social media. And when he does, we'll be there, December 1773. Speaking of my home state here, the New York State budget passed recently. The proposal, at least, is... You ready for this? It's sure. The size... Our budget of New York State is going to be the size tax budget of Texas and Florida put together.
But Ryan, there's way less people.
About to be a lot less people.
I'm not surprised.
Neither am I. Self-inflicted suicide here. Fiscally statewide. I saw a thing about NASA has this Mars rover that looks like a helicopter. Have you seen this? Yeah, dude, it's you can look up the pictures. Just type in NASA Mars helicopter rover, and it's like a little helicopter. It's gonna fly around on Mars.
On Mars?
Yeah, I guess it's already on the rover.
I guess it'd be.
So I guess they probably kept it secret so that this wasn't, you know what I mean? They're like, yeah, we landed on Mars, and now that they're there, be like, see all the cool shit we brought, and like, holy crap. It's probably
a lot easier to fly on Mars, I would imagine.
Yeah, you can do 2 things at once. Rover can do its own thing, and the guy can pilot it, or it's self-piloted, or however that works. Yeah, and then not to mention, there's nothing there. So very cool. People are cool things, dude. It's just we keep proving it that we make cool stuff. I mean, we didn't need alien technology to be aliens,
Well, no, their technology is way better than ours, but yeah.
Yeah, they're shapeshifters that cut through the fabric time-space.
That's right.
There's a super strand of COVID in the United Kingdom, and also the United States, apparently. Says the CDC, back to gravy double dipping. And I also saw a thing that the African strand is blowing through people that have gotten coronavirus.
I do have to stop you. I think it's the people of color strand.
What did I say?
You said African.
Cancel me. So yeah. You know what? Whatever. I've been too cool with too many black people to be a racist. Get the fuck out of here. Speaking of cool black people, DMX died this week, man.
Yeah.
Earl Simmons.
Yeah.
50 years old.
As I said on the page, X is no longer going to give it to you.
What? We right here.
I've been barking all day.
Up a tree? X gonna give it to you. 50 years old, apparently drug overdose. Conspiracy theories are saying COVID vaccine.
Probably knee and neck.
Very sad. Very sad. But, yeah, I don't know how you felt about it, dude, but I listened to a couple of his songs on the way to work that day. And I cried for one of the songs, "The Rain." If you've never heard it, it's on Grand Champ. It's a really good song about like just standing strong against adversity and shit. You know, it's a very good. But listening to it, like going through what I've gone through recently in my life currently, and then like him die, it put me in a lot of different memory holes and mental spaces while I was listening to him. I listened to a shuffle of his playlist of his hits, and it just kind of like, you know, the eras, like I said, those memory pockets, like 10, 13, 15, 17, 20, you know, like these pockets of my life and the soundtrack of your life and stuff. But yeah, I cried. I felt like, you know, sad day for hip hop. I'm a hip hop head. I love it. And yeah, he obviously didn't have the most he's very graphic artist, intense, dark, all that gritty. He added a layer of hip hop after Biggie and Tupac were gone, and like very cool story. He's a hip hop legend, and like I was talking to my little brother about it because he knows some DMX and stuff, but like to have that cultural talk with him, you know, about those memory pockets, and this is is interesting. It's weird how like as you age, you have to face the things you fear, but more importantly, you face the things that you unexpect. You know, those memories, that pockets of your life and stuff. It's powerful shit, man.
Yeah, that's well. This is gonna be awkward. So here's what I have to say about DMX. This is nothing personal against DMX or your feelings on DMX either, but I feel like we too often romanticize people after they die. Like every time somebody dies, and I think it happens more in hip hop than anything. Anytime somebody dies, it's like, oh, R.I.P. to one of the greatest ever. It's like, well, was he? Was he though?
Well, what's crazy about DMX, just like some of these, you know, Tupac too, is like their story, not justifying them or, you know, but they've obviously rapped about this. But like DMX got into drugs at like 9 years old, you know, like smoking crack at 9. You know, and the guy didn't live an awesome or privileged life, or he had high success and failure. He had all the but it's just like the story of these people is so captivating, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could definitely do some documentaries about a lot of these people.
Yeah, definitely. I relate in their struggle, man. Like, I obviously can't step with their struggle, but I relate so heavily to some of them themes and them struggles, man. Like, it's everlasting. And that's what I think. Like you said, that's why, you know, you get to romanticize from that because you also don't want to talk ill of the dead.
Right.
But I think, I mean, maybe I've said on this program, time is currency, man. You got to spend it. You should tell people you appreciate them for their time, you know, so that they don't need to get roses in death. They can get them in life. You know, and you tell people about their impact.
Yeah,
you know,
and
go ahead.
That's really the point, because to the people saying all this, I almost wonder how many of them were listening to DMX, you know, the week before he died. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
It's just one of those things, isn't it?
Years, man.
Yeah.
You know,
it's just one of those things. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, so like, and it's easy to see with these entertainment icons. You know, they get their flowers all the time because they had success in the spotlight. You know, they had their 5 seconds in the sun. But us average people, your mom, your dad, your grandma, your son, your this, like you're not you're not tossing people their roses in life, man. You know, that's a practice we should start as the common man here. So Dave, I want to get to a point about something. I'll bring it up after my Decembertainment this week. I guess we'll have like close it out with like a philosophical debate.
Final thoughts.
Yeah, final philosophy, we'll call it. Decembertainment this week. I consumed some Joe Rogan clips about the Dan Kershaw interview. I plan to watch. I'll probably listen to that one in its entirety this week probably. But it seemed good. I like Dan Kershaw personally. Some people have say he's a rhino in some areas and Warhawk, whatever. I don't care about his politics. I like him overall, and him and Rogan always together in the same room is a very good contest of ideas. Yeah. Right? Like I'm very harsh on Rogan for being, you know, like this double dipping liberal, which, you know, if I were to ever sit down and talk to him, I hope I could discuss these things with him so he could be clear and make himself known. Like, I think people need to, for as strong as Rogan is, people should point out those things in him too, like because of his influence. And I think he's gotten better with it, which is why he has Dan Kershaw on, because he's such a hard conservative politically on a lot of issues.
Dan Kershaw, like my thoughts on him, you could do a lot worse than Dan Kershaw. He's not my, like, I got certain grievances with him, but You could do
He's
worse
like-
than Dan Kershaw for sure.
You know, I've heard some people put he's like a young McCain, kind of in that way. That
I don't think he's that bad.
Right. Well, McCain I don't think was always that bad either. Right. When he was younger, I mean. I don't know.
No.
Fuck.
No, that's true.
The point.
You don't want to speak ill of the day. Fuck Kane.
Anyways, I only like the veterans that weren't captured. But yeah, so I looked to consume that. But what I did do, I took the Monster up to. If you're ever, I don't know how often you stop up back here, man. But if you're ever in the area with the kid, man, go hit up the Galleria Mall and go to that Busy Bee place or whatever it's called.
We've been there. Yeah.
Cool. Basically,
big slides and stuff. You gotta wear socks. Yeah.
There's also a new like place that's kind of like Bounce Magic there that you can like do all the climbing on all these things. Melody was scared to do that, but hit up the Busy Bee place. We've never been there. I never been there. That was cool, man. Obviously that's a kid activity, so all the listeners that don't care about children. But no, man, we had a good time. Awesome place. I had to spend the money to go in there. It was just her and I. It was relatively affordable. It was better price than I thought. Obviously, they had lower capacity. They had their signs. They cleaned. Everything was fine. The place was good. I didn't feel unsafe or scared for my little review. But overall, dude, awesome. It was cool. I got a bunch of videos. I went on the slides. I was a little too big, some of them, but very cool. Cool for kids. I'll give it 4 stars out of 5.
Maybe we'll start doing Decembertainment live. It won't even be a segment. It'll just be its own thing. We can go to the kart track. There's an electric kart track there, indoor, on the second story.
They got rid of that.
What? Why?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it did well. And
solid. Well, probably because it was expensive as hell. It was like $20 to run around the track once.
Yeah, that pole position it was called. That place is gone, and it's that same area has that new bounce place. Yeah, it's like a Bounce Magic.
Those things were freaking quick though. It was fun.
Yeah,
good time.
I never got a chance to dabble in that, but that Bounce Magic place, it seems like for bigger. You know, they had height requirements. Mm-hmm. So it didn't seem geared for kids. It might have been more of a like teenager activity. I'm sure they had kids activities there because there was the sizes for it, but it was like adults were on this stuff. So, anyways, that was awesome. But David, so I've been going through a lot of things in my life. This is like the final philosophy here, and you know, I'm pretty transparent with some of the creations, but like, you know, when I get like to like my real everyday life, I don't always open up to everybody and everything. But
well,
yeah, I had to turn it down for this. I was thinking to myself, are you a man of faith, Dave? Like religion? Like I don't care if it's religious or.
Well, yeah, I'm not religious. I guess.
No, you don't got faith in anything.
Well, sure, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Just not religion.
Okay. Well, I don't know, man. Like, I've been talking to like just the universe and shit. You know, being grateful. I tell you about my time and its a currency and stuff, and I mean it. You know, I really do. I'm an extremely grateful person. I've gone through a lot of shit recently. I'm sad about it and everything else, but I've been just trying to acknowledge that there's more out there than me. You know, and that like I know what I do matters, and I think that holds true in that shit. And like we can look at it as religion or a god or something, but I don't know, man. Like I know the shit's real. Something's real. I'm here for a reason. We're all here for a reason. And whether you tap into it or not, man, I don't care. But I don't know. I'm just grateful for it. You know, I'm grateful for my power, my essence, and stuff. And I can't prove it, but I can feel it. You know, like I know it's there. You can't tell me the shit I feel isn't real. You can't tell me that it's just my imagination and myth. I've never read the Bible. You know, you can't tell me that it's
like cover to cover or parts of.
I've gone to school and stuff. I couldn't tell you like passages. Yeah. You know, like we're raised Christian. You know, a Christian person and that. But there's a certain age and the stuff I've done in my life and things I've said and things I've questioned and stances I've stood and. You know, when I look back at my life, it's been sin. You know, I've had sin. I've dabbled in sin. I've enjoyed sin. I've fought sin. So, like, if we look at the clearly religious text and stuff, no, I'm no man of faith that way, man. But you can't tell me the shit I feel is real. And I've been really trying to just relish in that, the spirit, my spirit, the spirit of everything. I truly believe we are the gods. We are a god. If we're made in the image of God, we are gods. We're mini gods. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, that holds water. I mean, I guess I've always considered myself sort of a deist. Like, I was raised Catholic, I guess, Roman Catholic, whatever that means. I don't know what the difference is, to be honest with you, but I've considered myself a deist where I don't really follow religion all that much, but I definitely do believe there's something out there, whether it's God or whatever you want it to be, but there's definitely some definite reason that we're all here and we're all brought together.
Yeah, and I've been thinking a lot about trying to read the Bible just at base, just the history of the world, because people, whatever you want to say about the stories, I mean, the historical events that are quotable by history have been proven almost every time, if I'm not mistaken. They're real. I mean, they go back, they're like, yeah, the water was red, and then they go there, they'd be like, actually, we dug a hole and found a bacteria that would turn water red. Now, whether that is a sign of the god and sacrifice your firstborn is up to discussion. But, I mean, if you look at it historically, it's accurate. So, like, but my point is, like, dude, you can't fake what I'm feeling. You cannot fake it. You cannot fake I get goosebumps. Like, that's just, like, one way to describe it, let alone eternally, the way that I process my thoughts. And it's just beautiful shit. I relish in it. But I bring up the question of faith and my stance on faith before I take my next statement, because it's important. Like, it's because in the day and age we're so caught up on ideology and, like, trying to be right or trying to defend our point of view or stand up for the innocent and be righteous, or however we try to live and portray ourselves. At work, at the urinal, literally as I'm taking a piss, there's the signs about coronavirus, and the things you can do to mitigate it. And my favorite is a little brown picture, and it shows the exploded view of your face on the inside of a mask. And it shows little air, like arrows for air, and it shows, like, little circles for a virus. Right? My point is, it's showing the creative impersonation of something invisible that you cannot see.
Sure.
Okay. So if we, as science, we can prove this now, we can look at them. I mean, I've seen magnifying glasses that they can see atoms in steel, the anatomic structure of metal. So they know, like, that thing you see as the picture, they can almost see that. It's not clear like they're drawings. That's an artistic version of reality, which once again is that picture of your face in the COVID mask. I'm bringing this all together with the religious aspect of that. We're putting so much faith and stock in shit that we cannot see, but we cannot thank God. We can't look to the heavens or look beyond ourselves or enter in our mind and go to a doorway and be spiritual. It doesn't even have to be religious. But we say this thing is killing us and destroying everything. And we always say about this connection we have and how we, when we're in nature, how we see animals, how they connect with us, how there's this unspoken essence between you and your dogs and your cats, right? This feeling. So you can't, it's not unfakeable. That's a myth. It's a myth to someone else, but it's reality to you. But we don't hold stock in that. The scientific mind and our ability to capture everything and look everything up has made us over analytical about our reality. We are the God, man. You can think past, future, and present and craft that and change it and mold it and shape the world. We'll put stock in the invisible virus and we'll wear a mask for it, but we don't put stock that we could be a spiritual being trapped inside a physical body. You're Jordan Peterson. I know I've been pounding him hard, man, but you know what? I'll tell you, that guy's been getting me through a lot of shit lately. And one of his sayings that really, it hurt me because it's true. But I am facing things that I feared as a kid. Mm-hmm. My very particular situation in my life that I won't go into on my political podcast, but I'm literally facing something I never wanted to. It's so painful. It's depressive. Yeah. But you got to get through it and all that jazz and all that. But him saying it has helped me through it. But he brings up that our nervous system's older than our You know, our eyes are connected to our nervous system, which is older than trees, and like the way we evolved and our mind growth and like all the, like, dude, we're so ingrained in our, like I said, you can't tell me that that's a fake feeling. That I came from the dirt. I'm literally made of dirt, and I feel a connection to dirt and the energy around me. And so my point is, we put stock in the invisible virus that could kill all global population. Maybe we should put some stock that we're spiritual people. Dude, we all got an essence and a soul, one way or another, without religion in any of that. So I guess I'm going to leave it there, man. I appreciate everybody watching, sticking around if you made it to the end. Like the video, share the video, comment, subscribe, engage, help us beat the algorithm. Dave, I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody watching. Yeah, I'm Ryan and Dave from December 1773, and I'll see you all next week. We drop at 7 on Mondays Eastern, and yeah, onward.
Perfect. Thank you. Great way to end it.
Peace out, brother.
See ya.